Hello children, welcome to my channel Learn with Love. In this class we are going to learn poetry and paragraph comprehension. Our first question, what is comprehension? Comprehension means our ability to understand. So comprehension exercises test our ability to read and understand a paragraph or a poem. Paragraph comprehension is an integral part of an English question paper. Take any English paper from class 6 to 12. Even competitive exams after grade 12 have passage comprehension part in it. This is how the question looks. A passage would be given and we are supposed to read the passage and answer questions from it. It's quite easy and doesn't even need to be taught. So in this class, we are going to discuss how to approach this question without wasting time, some common question types, and common mistakes made while answering these types of questions. You see, some students, while attempting to answer this type of questions, they try to read the passage intently, word by word, trying to remember the important points. Then they read the questions. By this time, they would have forgotten what they read in the passage. And so they will have to read it all over again. So when they do this, they end up losing a lot of time. To avoid that, we have to manage our time efficiently and try not to spend more than 10 minutes in this exercise. This can be done by following two reading techniques, skimming and scanning. Skimming means to read a text quickly to get a general idea. You don't need to read it word by word or try to understand each and every point. You don't even have to remember any information. Just let your eyes run through the passage. Try to get an idea of what the passage is about. If there are more than one paragraphs, you can skim it by reading only the side headings and the first line of each paragraph. That would be enough to give you a general idea of what the passage is about. Pause the screen and try to skim the passage. Remember to read real quickly, read only the first lines of each paragraph and then resume the video. Now you would have got a general idea about the passage. You would have understood that the passage is about giraffes, something about what they eat, their appearance and the problems they face. This much is enough. See, now we've got a general idea on what this passage is about in just less than a minute. The next step is to scan. Scan means to look for a specific information in a text. Have you ever tried to find the meaning of a word in a dictionary? While looking for the word, do we read each and every word? We don't. We already have a word in mind, the word for which we want to find the meaning, and we focus only on finding that word. We don't stop to read or understand the other words around it. We don't even really look at the other words. That is how we have to scan a passage. So to scan a passage, what do we need? We need keywords. With the keyword in mind, we have to quickly go through the passage to find the answer. Since we are trying to find answer to a specific question, we can take a keyword from the question itself. Look at the first question here. How tall does the male giraffe grow? We can take the keywords tall and male giraffe, grow, and look through the passage for these words. These words are found in this sentence here. A male giraffe can grow up to 18 feet. Now many children make the mistake of just copying the sentence as answer. Don't do that. Instead, try to frame the answer according to the question. How tall does the male giraffe grow? The male giraffe grows up to 18 feet tall. Our next question. Always look for answers to only one question at a time. Scan separately for each question. So our second question here is, what gives a giraffe a long range of vision? From this question we can take the keywords long, range and vision and look through the paragraph for these words. So these words are in this sentence here. It also gives him a long range of vision. But our question is, what gives a giraffe a long range of vision? And our answer is not in this sentence because this simply says it gives a giraffe a long range of vision. To find out what that it is, we have to read the previous sentence. Such height enables them to escape the competition for ground level grass that exists among other leaf eaters. It also gives him. So the previous sentence is about the height of the giraffe and the information simply continues in the second sentence also. So now we have the answer. What is it? The height of the giraffe gives it a long range of vision. Our third question, how fast can a giraffe run? We have the answer here, 50 kilometers per hour. A giraffe can run at a speed of 50 kilometers per hour. Number 4, give a suitable title for the passage. This is a question commonly asked. You know what this passage is about, so just give it a title you think is best. Sometimes you'll be asked to fill in a blank like this question here. Dash leaves are the favorite diet of the giraffes. For these types of questions also you can choose a keyword or two from the question and scan through the paragraph for answers. Here the answer is acacia. And sometimes a true or false type question will be asked. A statement will be given and we have to find out whether it is true or false after reading the passage about it. Like this question here. State whether the following statement is true or false. Giraffe is taller than all the animals on earth. The answer is true. It is given here in the very first line that the giraffe is the tallest of all living land animals, which means that it is taller than all the animals. So the answer is true. Sometimes our vocabulary will also be tested with questions like this. Which word means the opposite of approach? Proposition, leave, go near, advance towards. Now if you know the meaning of the word approach, then it's okay. But if you don't, try to read the sentence with the word and take a guess. Now you might be surprised that I'm asking you to take a guess in the exam, but guessing the meaning of a word from the context. That means guessing the meaning of a word from the rest of the sentence is also a real skill. Because we cannot know the meanings of all the words and obviously you wouldn't be able to use a dictionary in the exam hall. So try to read the sentence and take a guess. Here the sentence is, he takes warning of the approaching enemy early. So this could mean the giraffe takes warning early when the enemy comes. So approach could probably mean to come. Now use this information to answer the question. Which word means the opposite of approach? The opposite of come is to go. So the answer could maybe leave. Now this may not work every time, but it's better than leaving the question thinking you don't know the answer, and it's definitely better than wasting a lot of time on it. I'd also like to tell you how to write down the answer in your paper. If this is your answer sheet, write the Roman number and question number inside the margin and write the answer along with the option A, B or C. Don't write only the option. Don't write only the answer. Write the option and answer. And sometimes reasoning questions like this will be asked. The answer will not be in the paragraph. You will have to think about what the answer would be. So this question, what is the author's purpose of writing this article? To persuade readers into liking giraffes more, to share fictional stories about giraffes, to teach readers about the lives of giraffes. So you have read the article on giraffes, so just think about the answer. Is this passage trying to make us like giraffes? No, because it doesn't describe its beauty or how sweet and adorable they are. Does it tell fictional stories about giraffes? No, again, there aren't any stories. Did we learn something about giraffes from this passage? Yes, so that is the answer. A poetry comprehension exercise is the same, but instead of a passage, we'll be required to read a poem and answer questions from that. This is one of my favorite, a very touching poem by Alfred Lord Tennyson, Home They Brought Her Warrior Dead. Let's use this as an example. In this poem, the body of a young soldier who was killed in the battlefield is brought home. His young wife just couldn't accept that her husband died. She is too shocked that she doesn't even cry. The maidens, that mean the women around her, worry that if she doesn't cry and keep all that sadness bottled up inside of her, she would die. So in an attempt to make her cry, they praise him, show his face to her, but to no avail. Finally, an old nurse takes the young woman's baby and gently places it on her lap. And when the young woman saw her baby's face, her baby, who now doesn't have a father, like summer tempest comes her tears as she realizes that now she has to live for the baby. Home They Brought Her Warrior Dead by Alfred Lord Tennyson. Home they brought her warrior dead. She nor swooned nor uttered cry. All her maidens watching said, she must weep or she will die. Then they praised him soft and low, called him worthy to be loved, truest friend and noblest foe. Yet she neither spoke nor moved. Stole a maiden from her place, lightly to the warrior stepped, took the face cloth from the face, yet she neither moved nor wept. Rose a nurse of 90 years, set his child upon her knee, like summer tempest came her tears. Sweet my child, I live for thee. Such a touching poem. Coming back, the same type of questions which we discussed in passage comprehension will be asked, but again, the common mistake some children make is that they would just copy the poem line as answer. Don't do that. Get the information from the poem line and write it in a sentence. Who was brought dead? A warrior. Instead of writing the poem line as it is, write in a sentence. Who was brought dead? A warrior was brought dead. Another common question will be asked is to find the rhyme scheme of the poem. But before we learn how to find that, let me tell you what a rhyme scheme is. Rhyme scheme is the arrangement of rhyming words. You know what rhyming words are, right? Similar sounding words. Honey, money, funny, bunny, fun, run. So rhyme scheme is the arrangement of these rhyming words at the end of each line of a poem. So to find the rhyme scheme, look only at the last word of each line. Near the last word in the first line, write the alphabet A. The last word in the first line here is dead. Now check to see if any other word in the end of the following lines rhyme with dead. So the words in the end here are dead, cry, said, die. Said rhymes with dead. Said, dead. So near the word said, write the same alphabet, that is A. Near the next word cry, let's write the next alphabet B. Now check whether there are any words in the end rhyming with cry. Cry, die. So write the same alphabet near that word too. Now we have found the rhyme scheme of this stanza. It is AB, AB. Easy, right? This is one common question asked in poetry comprehension. And the next type is, a line from the poem would be given and we would be asked to find which figure of speech is used in that particular line. Like in this question, what is the figure of speech used in the line, like summer tempest came her tears? But to answer it, we must know what a figure of speech is. Figure of speech is saying or writing something which may not be entirely true, but just to add a nice effect to what we say. It is used to add a beauty, vividness, a dramatic effect or emotion to something that is said or written. There are hundreds of figures of speech in the English language, but here we are going to learn only the ones that are commonly used and most importantly commonly asked in exams. Read with me: simile, metaphor, personification, alliteration, onomatopoeia. Let's repeat that: onomatopoeia and oxymoron. I'll explain what a simile and metaphor is side by side so you can understand better. Both simile and metaphor are used to compare two completely different things. So simile and metaphor are used to compare things. But when two things are compared using the words as or like, it's a simile. And if two things are compared without using the words as or like, it's a metaphor. For example, my kids are as busy as bees nowadays. Now my kids and bees are completely different things, but I compare them using the word as to say that my kids are very busy. So this is simile. Now if I compare my kids to bees without using the words as or like, as in this example, my kids are busy bees, then it's a metaphor. So simile compares two things using the words as or like, and a metaphor compares two things without using the words as or like. This is easy, right? I have got some questions here for you. Pause the screen. Think about whether the following sentences are a metaphor or a simile, and then resume the screen to check your answers. Next is alliteration. Alliteration is a literary device in which some words in a sentence begin with the same sound, like she sells seashells by the seashore, or can you can a can as a canner can a can. Remember, not every word needs to start with the same sound, just a few is enough. Alliteration is mostly found in tongue twisters, but it is also used in poems because alliteration can give a musical structure and rhythm to poems. So some more examples of alliteration are Mickey Mouse, Peter Parker, Donald Duck, Coca-Cola. All these begin with the same sound. So in a sentence, if more than one word starts with the same sound, then the figure of speech used is alliteration. Onomatopoeia. Onomatopoeia is a name given to a sound. If the name of a sound and the sound is same, it's onomatopoeia. Some examples are splash, drip, clink, meow, bark, whisper. So, onomatopoeia is an imitation of sound in words. Ding dong, ring the merry bells. The figure of speech used in this line is onomatopoeia. Next is personification. Personification is when you give the ability of a person to an animal or an object. It is when something that is not a human being is described as having the quality of a human being. For example, if I click a picture of you and then say, the camera is loving you, what do I mean? I mean that your photo has come out beautifully. But how do I say it? I say the camera loves you. To love someone is the characteristic of a human being, and I give that quality to a camera. So I am personifying the camera. That's what personification means. Another example is the moon played hide and seek with the clouds. Personification is a very creative literary tool that poets and writers use all the time. Next is oxymoron. Oxymoron is a statement that says two opposite things. For example, act naturally or an original copy. Now read this question again. What is the figure of speech used in the line like summer tempest came her tears? Is it alliteration, simile, personification or metaphor? Did you find the answer? Here two different things. Summer tempest, that means a violent storm, and tears are compared using the word like. So the answer is simile. I have some questions here for you. Pause the screen, think about the answers, and let's discuss them after that. Number 1. The classroom was a zoo. Here a classroom is compared to a zoo to mean that the class was noisy. They are compared but without using the words as or like. So it's a metaphor. Second one, the plants are begging for water. Now begging is an action usually done by people, but here it is said that the plants are begging. Plants are given the quality of a human being in this sentence. So the answer is personification. May I ask a question? This sentence asks permission to ask a question, but in asking that question, already asks a question. So this is an oxymoron. Funny, huh? Number 4. Peter Piper picked a peck of pickled peppers. In this sentence, most of the words begin with the consonant sound pa. So the figure of speech used in this sentence is alliteration. How they clang and clash and roar. Clang, clash and roar. Names of sounds, so onomatopoeia. His stomach growled like a bear. Here the rumbling of the stomach due to hunger is compared to the growl of the bear using the word like. So it's a simile. If it had been compared without using the word like, then it would be a metaphor. So kids, we have come to the end of the class. I hope it was useful to you. Leave your doubts and suggestions in the comment section. Let's meet in the next class. Until then, remember this. I love you all.